Hello and welcome to the week 5 of our project management professional training program. In this week 5, module 5 of our PMP training program, we'll be discussing project scope management. Alright, so I hope you've been having fun, you've been learning a whole lot so far, and you've also completed all the quizzes in the previous weeks and modules that we have covered. So without further ado, let's head into project scope management. Alright, let's do an overview of the project scope management. In week 5 of our project management professional training course, we'll delve into the crucial domain of project scope management. Okay? Project scope management is a key aspect of project management that involves defining, documenting, and managing all the work required to successfully complete the project. A well-managed project scope ensures that the project stays on track, within budget, and meets its intended objectives. So as you can see, as a project manager, you cannot do without project scope management. Alright? It's a very integral aspect of your project management process. In fact, it's very crucial. Alright, it is a key aspect that involves definition. Alright, definition. You have to be clear about all the work that is required to successfully complete your project. You have to be clear about it. You have to define it. Alright, and then you have to be able to manage them properly. Alright, this actually talks about the work that is within the project that you are handling. That's why we'll talk about scope. What is included in the project and what is not included. Alright, answering this question will help you to be able to stay on track. You'll stay on track, you'll not be distracted, you'll not go into things that are irrelevant. Alright, you will remain on course. And then it will also help you to stay within budgets, because every time you veer off track and go into the things you're not supposed to do, you are eating into your budget for unnecessary things. Alright, so that's definitely going to affect you, and it might definitely lead to your project creeping. Okay, so you don't want that. That is why you want to have very astute management of your project scope. Alright, so as to be able to meet your intended objectives. Okay, now furthermore, by the end of this week, you will have a solid understanding of project scope management and be equipped with the knowledge and skills to effectively define, manage, and control the scope of your project. This knowledge is invaluable for PMP certification and will prove essential in your career as a successful project manager. Okay, so the knowledge and skills you'll be getting in this particular module will help you to effectively define, manage, and control the scope of your project, which is very important. You can keep the project within things that are important, within things that are relevant, and then look away from unnecessary activities. Alright, it will both save you time and it will save you a whole lot of money, which is very limited as far as project management is concerned. So you don't want to waste that. Okay, stay engaged and take in all the key principles, best practices, and real world insights offered during this week's sessions to become a proficient scope manager and project leader. All right, so Let's go. Ready. All right, let's look at the project scope management processes. As you can see, coming up here, we have the processes which are included in the project scope management. And the first one here is the plan scope management, collect requirements, define scope, create work breakdown structures, validate scope, and lastly, control scope. Like we have already established before, project management is a process of processes. All right, remember we are looking into the knowledge areas. Now this particular knowledge area is the project scope management, and it has its own processes within, just like we've seen in the previous knowledge areas. So without further ado, let's delve into the nitty-gritty of these various processes to see what they got for us as project managers and how we can take advantage of them to become super savvy in the management of our assigned projects. Here we go. So section 1, plan scope management. This is the first process in the project scope management process. In this section, we'll focus on the first process within the project scope management knowledge area, which is plan scope management. This process is essential for defining and managing the project scope effectively. By the end of this section, you should be able to understand the purpose of plan scope management, identify the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs of this process, and also comprehend how effective scope management contributes to project success, and also comprehend how effective scope management contributes to project success. So these are the learning objectives. They are things that you're going to have at your fingertips by the time we are done with this section. Right, let's delve into it. Now, what is the purpose of the plan scope management? The plan scope management is the initial step in defining how project scope will be managed, controlled, and validated throughout the project life cycle. Okay, so there's the first step to take. It ensures that stakeholders' expectations are understood, documented, and managed. Remember, we've talked about being able to manage our stakeholders effectively is very important, because our stakeholders have their expectations. All right, those expectations become requirements for our project. If we have a misunderstanding of the requirements of our project, and if we cannot properly manage them, then it's actually going to lead to a lot of conflicts, all right, and dissatisfaction at the end of the project. All right, so to avoid that, we need to be able to get our plan scope management right, okay, from the outset. Now let's look at the inputs in this process, the plan scope management process. So first, we have the project management plan. This provides guidance on how scope will be managed within the project. Okay. Next is the project charter. This contains the project's high-level scope description. So like we've seen before when we're talking about the project charter, it contains the description of the project scope. Everything about the project is included in the project charter. All right, so this serves as an input. Stakeholder register. This helps in understanding the expectations and requirements of the stakeholders. We cannot emphasize the importance of this enough. All right, organizational process assets. Existing organizational policies, procedures and templates related to scope management. All right, so all those things make up the organizational process assets. All right, and everything you find here is what we call the inputs in the plan scope management. So let's take a look at the tools and techniques. So what are the tools and techniques in plan scope management? Firstly, expert judgment. This involves experts who can provide insight into effective scope management. So as a project manager, you're working with various experts to get their insights, in order to help you to effectively manage the scope of your project. Data analysis. Reviewing relevant data to understand scope requirements. Right, so you're going to have to review data, especially data coming from the stakeholders, and that's going to help you understand your scope requirements. Meetings. Conducting meetings with stakeholders to align scope expectations. Okay, so this is a very useful technique. You're going to have meetings after meetings where discussions regarding your project are going to be taking place. Now let's look at the outputs of the plan scope management. First is the scope management plan. Of course, you will expect this. This plan outlines how scope will be defined, documented, managed, and controlled throughout the project. Requirement management plan. This describes how project requirements will be analyzed, documented, and managed. Okay. Project scope statement. This details the project scope, including objectives, deliverables, constraints, and assumptions. Alright, so all these make up the outputs of the plan scope management process. Hope you got that. So what are the key takeaways in the plan scope management? Plan scope management is the process of creating a plan that documents how project scope will be defined, validated, and controlled throughout the project. Inputs include the project management plan, project charter, stakeholder register, and external and internal factors. Alright, that's external factors are the enterprise environmental factors. Alright, so here we have the enterprise environmental factors and the organizational process assets. Tools and techniques involve expert judgment, data gathering, meetings, data analysis, and decision making. Outputs include the scope management plan, requirements management plan, project scope statement, work breakdown structure dictionary, scope baseline, and updates to project documents. This process is essential in ensuring that the project scope is well defined and managed to meet the project's objectives. It sets the foundation for effective scope control throughout the project life cycle. Okay, there we have it, the plan scope management. So I believe you got value and you fully understood what this process is all about and this knowledge area, what it entails. Okay, so that will be all for this section. See you in the next section. Bye for now.